I'm going to talk to you about something that is really important for you to take into consideration when you're making decisions about what to do or not do in your difficult relationships, or actually in any of your relationships, but especially your difficult relationships. And that is human nature. We all have the same human nature and predictably will do things the same no matter what nationality, age, gender, ethnicity, religion. Human nature in all of us is basically the same. So you can take that into consideration. And it also is actually whether somebody is saved or not does not mean that their human nature is not still active within them, because if they are not walking in the spirit and not walking in the flesh, the human nature will crop up as really fast. And so you have to take this into consideration, no matter if the person is a Christian or not. Soul is redeemed, but the flesh is present. And we know that from scripture. So here are some of the things that you can keep in mind about human nature. And the first one is that we all have a natural desire within us to be free and to not be controlled. So this means that anytime that you try to control somebody, anytime you try to tell somebody what to do, that person is going to naturally rebel somewhat. And this happens a lot when we get into like a contest of the wills with our strong willed children, where it's like you're going to say, you're going to do this. And the child is like, I'm not going to do this. And then all of a sudden, you are basically both using your free will and your innate desire for freedom and not to have somebody else tell you what to do, and you are going to go head to head with that. So anytime that you take away somebody's freedom, take away somebody's choice, expect that person to rebel in some way or form. Next one is none of us appreciate what comes to us too easily. So if you give a child money, and material things from the time they're young, and they never have to work for it, and they break something and they get it replaced, and there's no work, there's no, way they have to earn it back, that child is not going to appreciate what you give them. This works for governments. When you give people things and they don't have any interest, or if they don't have any what they call skin in the game, people don't respect what you give them. The more difficult it is to get something, the more that you will value it. You can apply this even to dating. If somebody's very easy to get, we talk about being hard to get or easy to get, the person doesn't value you as much unless, they'll value you more if they've got to work a little bit harder to win you, to win your love, and to win the right to go out, to take you out. So basically, whatever comes too easily is not valued, is not appreciated. So keep it in mind. When you're deciding, am I going to give this person this? Am I going to give this 16-year-old this brand new car just because that kid turned 16? Guaranteed that child will not appreciate that car as much as if that child had to earn some money and put some money toward a car, and then that first car is not a new car. Next one, if we can get away with it and our conscience doesn't stop us, we will do it. So I'm going to give you an example that fits for all of us that drive a car. We have speeding laws, but when you are driving, how many of you break speeding limits, especially on freeways, especially when you're driving for long distances? I drive from here to Phoenix often, and I'm in the car for quite a long time, and it's long stretches of open highway, and it really feels slow when you're going the actual speed limit. So here's the question. If I knew that every single time that I was speeding, that I was going to get a ticket and it was going to be a lot of money, would you speed? No. If you knew every single time you were going to get a ticket, that consequence is going to come, you would not speed. You speed because the chances of you getting a ticket, getting caught, are low. And as those chances, the probability goes up, the likelihood that you will do that goes down. It is the same for all behavior. If somebody knows that they can get away with it and their conscience does not tell them that it is wrong, this is where morality comes in, that a free people needs to be a moral people, so that your own morality within you, your own relationship or awareness of God, and that there's a right and a wrong, will be your own restraint, and that you will obey without somebody having to be over you and punishing you for not doing what is right. The next one is when we choose sin, it is a progressive decline. So when somebody chooses to engage in drinking or drug use or flirting when they're married with someone else, when somebody begins to take a little bit of money from the account at work, it will most likely increase and escalate and cause more and more problems. This happens with pornography often, where it's very light porn, and then it gets darker and darker and more often until it consumes the person. Next one is we won't change without consequence unless that consequences that give us reason to want to change for ourselves. People will often say, it's better for somebody that want to change themselves. It will last longer. And that's true. I mean, sometimes we can give boundaries where somebody has to, like, say, go into a treatment program or has to stop, using a substance or doing a particular behavior. If the person eventually wants that for themselves and chooses it for themselves, it is more likely to last than if it's you saying, well, if I catch you again, then this is what's going to happen. So eventually we have to want it for ourselves in order for change to stick. The next one is we don't respect people that allow us to disrespect them. If you are allowed to yell at somebody, think of a parent. Which of your parents did you respect more? The one that you could yell at and get mad at, or the one that you were afraid of? You probably had more respect for the parent that you were afraid of because you knew that that parent would have a response. Parents that are the nice one, the one who's like putting up with an abusive spouse or an addicted spouse, or the spouse that's really the narcissist spouse, often the kids have less respect for that parent. They see that parent as the one who can choose and can change and isn't, and is tolerating wrong behavior. And then they feel the same disrespect for that parent that the other parent is showing to them. So we all test limits placed on us from time to time, and need to know that there are consequences. So you don't always have to enforce the consequences once people know that they are going to be enforced. I mean, it's not that they can get away with them, but you don't always have to threaten it. It's not like every time you tell your child, if you yell at me, then we're not going to continue the conversation. You don't need to say that every time you start a conversation, as long as the child knows that that is the rule and that the consequence will come. Or if you're late for school, then I won't write you a note. So you don't have to say that every morning. Or if you forget something, I won't bring it to school for you. Or, to your spouse that, if you're yelling at me, I will step back from the conversation. Whatever it is, you don't have to say it every time, but you do have to enforce the consequences and respond the way you said if it does happen. We naturally make decisions from a self-centered state. Okay, that's scriptural, right? You are accountable for your life. You're going to make you're going to have to account to God, give an account to God for your life, for how you lived. So all of us are going to make decisions based on how we are affected and the choices that we're making for ourselves. When we are all making moral, good choices for ourselves, this ends up being collectively good for everyone. And Adam Smith talked about free enterprise and a free market, and how each person pursuing their own self-interest to try to produce something that other people wanted or to try to better their own life would end up bettering other people's lives too. And just think about something like, Bill Gates with his computer software stuff. Look at how much all of us are benefiting from that. And all other types of things you can think of, discoveries with medicine and things like that. People were pursuing their interests and the things that interest them, and we all benefited from that. Even if somebody wants to make money, they want to grow crops to make money, or they want to, create a Disneyland to bring out their vision of a Disneyland and have people come to Disneyland. I mean, we all benefit from the things that people create. And the last one is, we will protect ourselves when we feel threatened. Recognize this. When you go to somebody and you are going to attack them or accuse them or criticize them or tell them what they're doing wrong, expect the person to be defensive. You are. When somebody comes to you and tells you, I don't like what you did, like I'm really upset at you. What's the first thing you want to do is like, I didn't do anything, or what are you mad at me for? Or, you start defending yourself. It takes a little while to calm down and to think about it and think, oh, wow, maybe I was wrong there. I really shouldn't have done that. So expect people to react defensively, work through that, come to them in as calm of a state as possible without doing things that are attacking and that are critical, using I statements, recognizing there are some people that no matter what you do are going to feel attacked and they're going to go into a self-protective mode. But do your best on your part and try to work through that, and don't get defensive at the back towards that person, or you'll only end up escalating and you'll get nowhere. So what are you going to do with this? You are going to take this into consideration. And I'm going to put a link. I'm going to put the information right here to a PDF that you can literally click on, download, and print out, where you can get it off of my website, and you can keep this and refer to it when you're making decisions. It will help you to decide what are you going to do and not do for people. If you know what comes too easy is disrespected, isn't appreciated, are you going to let it come easy? Are you going to let people disrespect you and then wonder why they continue to do that? Okay, there's a lot of good tips that you can keep in mind here when you are making decisions. John 2:23 through 25 says, now while he, meaning Jesus, was in Jerusalem at the Passover festival, many people saw the signs he was performing and believed in his name. It says, but Jesus would not entrust himself to them, for he knew all people. He did not need any testimony about mankind, for he knew what was in each person. He got it. He got who people were. And Romans 7:18 through 23, written by the Apostle Paul, says, for I know that good itself does not dwell in me, that is in my sinful nature. For I have the desire to do what is good, but I cannot carry it out. For I do not do the good I want to do, but the evil I do not want to do, this I keep on doing. Now, if I do what I do not want to do, it's no longer I who do it, but it's sin living in me that does it. So I find this law at work. Although I want to do good, evil is right there within me. For in my inner being, I delight in God's law, but I see another law at work in me, waging war against the law of my mind and making me a prisoner of the law of sin at work within me. And we know it goes on to say that there's no condemnation for any of us, but just remembering that even as Christians, even with the Holy Spirit in us, a part of us, that we still are at war with that sinful nature. So expect people's human nature to be at work, and take that into consideration when you make your decisions. Okay, thank you for watching this video. I hope that you will check out my website, and I hope you have at this point my book, Change My Relationship: 365 Daily Devotions for Christians in Difficult Relationships. It's got an index at the back that you can look up and see what it is that you're dealing with, and you can go there to that topic and read all the devotions on that particular subject, maybe acceptance, maybe boundaries, maybe detachment, and then kind of get all those tips kind of, you can focus on them again and keep them in mind. So it's really, really helpful. So, okay, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.